Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano live stream. And today I'm sitting down with Navjit, the CEO of IAGON. He's been on a few times already, and I talk quite a bit about IAGON. So today we're going to go through what's all is the latest on IAGON. Then I have a few questions from the community already, and any questions you guys have, make sure and put them in down below. Also, let us know if the audio and everything is coming through okay. Navjit, how's all with you today?
Busy. I'm busy right now. There's a lot of stuff going on. So, a lot of discussions going on as well. So happy to be here and, give the latest on IAGON. I'm glad to be here as well, Paul. Thank you.
Nice. Looking forward to it. Anyone in the comments, let us know where you're coming in from. And I see the audio is good. Let us know where you're coming from and any questions or anything you have. Always interested to see how far we reach out in terms of different countries coming in. Just learned about IAGON or IAG a few weeks ago, looking awesome. Husky. I don't know if I can say that word this early in the stream because YouTube might pick it up as something else. CEX. I'm going to start with this one because I know this is going to be a popular one today. So when Centralized Exchange for IAGON?
Yeah, so we are already listed on Gate and BitTrue. I guess it's the copying out, not giving the right answer that
that's not the one we're asking about.
No. But I think that we're in discussions with a lot of exchanges, right? And we have finalized one, and we are in discussion with some really good top tier ones as well. So let's see how that goes. A lot of a lot of them are in discussions conjointly with some of the projects already. Cardano Foundation's also pushing us as well, and they're helping out as well. So it's kind of a joint effort, and we've been in discussion with some of them for a while now. So just at the forefront again, when the discussion was Centralized Exchange discussion was brought up, so we had the talks again with some of them again. I think the main thing that they're asking for is volume, but as you know, that Cardano volume is not there yet in terms of the amount of volume that they're asking for. But we have talked with a few of them, and some of them are open to kind of, let's say, open the gates instead of asking for volume, asking for users instead. Because at the end of the day, for them, what's important is their business in terms of what they get in terms of advantages, which is the trading fees and users, right? And I think that if they get enough users, I think they'll be happy to list Cardano projects, and that's what we're kind of working on. And the top tier exchanges are kind of the toughest ones because it's harder discussions, longer discussions, more let's say strenuous KYCs and things like that. So, but hopefully we get there soon.
We're not getting a date today, I don't think.
No, you're not gonna get a clear answer, that's for sure.
Okay. Yeah, look, the bigger exchanges are definitely the ones we love to see Cardano native assets being listed on. And actually, will it be the native asset version of IAGON that's listed? Or I've heard some say it's very hard to get CNTs listed on them, that they want other chains, they want the token of other chains on. But
so it's not really that's not an issue at all. In terms of, that's not a issue in terms of integration. And we've kind of made it clear to all the exchanges that we're willing to pay for any integrations as well. So it's not, that shouldn't be an issue. The main issue, I think, is more so trading volume. I think that's where most of the questions come from. But right now, we're trying the user angle, making sure that they know that Cardano has a very strong community and that there's a lot of untapped potential in the Cardano community for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I know trading volume, even some of our best days in Cardano right now are still very small volume compared to what some of the other chains have. So it will be good to see. I think for us, what we're looking for is more users getting to know about the projects and being brought in. But I see from the centralized exchange listings, they're looking to bring the users we have into them, while we're looking to do the opposite. So there has to be some middle ground. So I'm just going to go down through the comments, and I'm going to go through the community questions then, and anything else that people have, do let us know in the comments down below. I'm just looking to see, is there any? Yeah, an important one. Don't forget to hit like, share this out as well. The more people that come in and watch it, the better. The more questions we can get, the better the discussion. And hopefully the more information we can get for the community. See lots of people from all around the world here. See, IAGON is one of the few Cardano projects that brings new users and liquidity to Web3 in a non-intrusive way. Yep, we might get into that. Actually, I'm going to presume most people know what IAGON is that are in on this, but just for those that aren't familiar with the project, can you give the high level of what you guys are?
Yeah, so we like to describe ourselves as, you know, Airbnb for storage and compute. So we take the unused capacity that's available, like storage and compute, and match them with the end user's needs. How we differentiate ourselves between centralized solutions is we distribute the data across many nodes or many resource providers that are providing their idle capacities, and at the same time we distribute it in a specific manner, not a random manner. It's random but specific. So, for example, if you're an enterprise company, like a Web2 company that is looking to be GDPR compliant, we can distribute the specific shards in EU. So if anyone doesn't know what GDPR is, it's a data regulation here in the EU, which means that data cannot be transferred outside of EU. There's different data regulations across the whole world. Those are clear kind of guidelines around that. US has HIPAA, Canada has their own laws, which is CPA, and Brazil. Every country has different data regulation laws, and we can geolocate the data in a specific manner, or the shards of the data, and thereby also being decentralized or distributed at the same time, also being secure, private, and also you control your data, meaning you have full operational, let's say, full sovereignty over your data. So operational sovereignty, we like to call that, meaning that only you have access to your data. So when you upload the data, only you can retrieve the data back. There's no middleman that kind of has access to your data, which is different from centralized exchange, centralized, let's say, storage providers, and different from, let's say, decentralized storage providers as well, meaning that, decentralized storage providers, they like to distribute their shards randomly, which is not efficient and not compliant with certain data regulation laws as well. So that bypasses that problem as well.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a good introduction, and there's lots of questions. Keep them coming in the comments below. I am marking them to go back to in a while, once we get through some of the other ones that we have here already, but do keep putting them in. Whether you're watching, this should be out live on Twitter and on YouTube, so all the comments should feed back into us here. There's one here just on the centralized exchange listings and trading volume. So how is transaction related to trading volume? Maybe some education needed. For me, I'll let you correct me then. I think when we're talking about trading volumes, that is specifically what happens on DEXs rather than just transactions happening on Cardano. So normal people sending tokens from one wallet to another, that the centralized exchanges don't care about that. They care about who's actively trading and what's happening. I presume that's the discussions you've had.
Yeah, and they also go into the details of the transactions as well. Like I know that they don't do that for all the chains, but for Cardano at least, they've taken an assessment of what's actually organic transactions, and the good thing about Cardano, most of the transactions are organic. It's not like a lot of the other chains where a lot of the thing is a wash trading, meaning that you bump up your trading volume just by like trading small amounts. And that we see that a lot across different, let's say, chains, but in Cardano's a lot of that is organic, and they look at those details, like how much you trade, like basically converting one asset to another and converting it back, and they look at the 24-hour volume, and over 7 days and a monthly as well.
Okay, so they're actually actively tracking different wallets to see what's happening, and that's not commonly done, is it not, for other chains?
It's not commonly done as an assessment, because they do look at the details in terms of the trading volume. Is it organic? Token holders, things like that. I guess they take a more thorough approach with Cardano projects because they are kind of, let's say, the volume is lower, and there's not many, let's say, Cardano projects that are listed on bigger exchanges, right? So I guess that the approach is different. I know we've done. I think Zerberus can attest to this. There's a lot of wash trading on other chains that bumps up the volume a lot, right? Trading volume, and that happens on different chains. I won't name which ones, but it does happen. And unfortunately, they don't look at that.
Okay, yeah, actually, Cerberus, just when you mentioned, I think they're going to be looking cross-chain fairly soon. That's going to be interesting to see what happens on other chains and tracking. And anyone who hasn't heard of them, I'd say definitely look into the project and what they're doing. And they bring a lot of transparency into the Cardano space right now, and we'll be looking at other chains as well. They were on the channel here probably a good while back now when we looked at the Ardana report and different things there and kind of showed some of what's possible. There's a question here about Copi. That was meant to be IAGON doing anything with Copi?
We haven't had actually talks with Copi yet, but we'd be happy to discuss anything with them if there's anything that if they want to work together on. I think that, I think the gaming industry is definitely a big industry to get into. And I think maybe once we get the compute out, the decentralized compute, it'd be a good discussion point then.
Yeah, definitely. Even for thinking off the top of my head, the file down or the game download initially, that's currently, I think the last one I downloaded was close to 20 gigabytes. So it's growing and growing with every release. It's only going to get bigger at this point when you're trying to hammer that much on the graphics side into it, it's going to get bigger. Yeah. So great. It's always great to see projects partnering. And actually, there was questions, don't see them in the chat here, but there was questions from the community about projects partnering with IAGON to use the storage. House of Titans was one that we've seen. They have an NFT project and they're utilizing IAGON. And I think they're up to 250 gigabytes of storage now was the last that I seen. Is that something that they initiated, or was it ye, or how do partnerships or collaborations like that work?
Yeah, they actually reached out to us with the proposal, and I think that they want to incentivize their community through their NFTs. And one way was to kind of, mine a different kind of, let's say, crypto assets, quote unquote, mine, which you do earn IAGON rewards for providing storage capacity, right? So I think that they wanted to take the initiative of setting up storage nodes and using the NFTs, the funds that they generate from the NFTs to provide those storage nodes for us. And they've provided, I think, 4 nodes, 4 70 terabyte nodes already. So it's gotten to quite a large amount for sure. And they're planning another one. They're planning a total investment of 800K USD in IAGON tokens to be able to stake and provide storage capacity and possibly compute in the future. The partners usually reach out. We have a lot of organic interest, and also Scalia also is let's say aggregator for DEPIN. They basically connect to different storage providers and compute providers and offer their services on their through their platform. So it's something similar like Dapp Central for let's say DEPIN projects, right? And we've seen a lot of interest. We also have OPSEC and we're talking to others as well that have reached out to us and to provide this kind of let's say tooling for wanting to run storage nodes and compute nodes and offer IAGON services to their community.
Okay, nice. And bare metal is one I've seen talked about in the community, and there's partnerships going there. Do we have any more information on that, or?
Yeah, I think some of that information was accidentally leaked, but I'm not sure if the community's been talking about it so much. But it's going to be announced when we can officially. We are just waiting for their marketing team to get back from vacation, and once they do, and then we can launch an official statement. Basically, I think everything's ready there to go, but that partnership will bring great adoption, let's say, to Cardano and IAGON for sure.
Nice. And then another one was just when we're on that, because it's related to staking. So is it already possible to stake IAG? So anybody who spins up, I have tutorials. Actually, I'll link them below after this on how you can set up if you have extra storage. And once you set up storage, you provide storage to the network, you can stake your IAG. But I presume this question is leaning towards, can other users stake their IAG yet? Or if not, when will we have that?
Yeah, so we have like you said, you can actually spin up a node and actually stake IAGON tokens if you are a storage provider. But we're going to have a marketplace soon for people that don't want to run up a node or don't want the hassle of the kind of running a node and on all that. So what they can do is basically it's similar to delegating, but not in the same sense. So we're trying to take Cardano's model and kind of work around it. Because delegation is not native to Cardano assets, just to Cardano itself. So what we're doing here is creating a marketplace where you, as a node operator that has the technical know-how, can put up an order, but maybe don't have enough IAG or not enough IAG available to run that node. You can basically place a market order and ask the community to fund that for you. And basically people that have IAG tokens that don't want to spin a node can basically delegate their IAG tokens to that specific node or that through that marketplace. So think it's similar as, where you have Cardano node pools and you can delegate to whichever node pool you want. And here is the same kind of concept where you actually, as a node operator, distinguish what the revenue flow is in terms of margin profit and things like that, how much you're giving to the actual delegators and how much you're keeping for yourself, and offer it on the market. And the people that are delegating can choose which one they want to delegate to.
Okay. Yeah, I think that will be popular because you could potentially have lots of people who have old servers or lots of storage sitting there, but mightn't have the funds to get enough of IAG to utilize all of that storage. So it could be a good match. And I know I missed a question there. I was trying to find it in the comments. Someone was asking how much IAG you need to stake to run a node. And this varies starting at, is it still 900 gigabytes for the minimum node?
Yeah, it's 900 gigabytes. So it's 0.5 US dollars in IAGON tokens per gigabyte. So that comes out to, if it's 900 gigabytes, then it's $450 worth of IAGON tokens to stake. Currently, the returns are between 15 to 30%. That will lower as more and more people provide their services to IAGON. All right. So, in terms of the estimates, we're estimating if 100 million IAGON is staked, then the return is around 7 to 8%.
Okay. And I'm just looking through trying to get all the last questions on staking before we move on to another topic. This one here is related to it too. Can you explain storage resizing and when? So this is if someone puts up 900 gigabytes to start and then they buy an extra hard drive. I know it's not possible now, but when or if will it be possible?
Yeah, so this is a topic a lot of people have asked. I guess a lot of node operators have asked when can they kind of increase their node capacity. In short, this is kind of a difficult topic because what happens if we resize, we take a market price, and basically that creates kind of a unstable market for the IAGON token. So we don't want to. We want to make sure that the resizing is done in a, let's say, over a certain time or limited to a certain amount of times per year, so that people have a time to kind of resize their node. Let's say 3 times a year or 4 times a year, where they're able to kind of, let's say, take out tokens from the node or add tokens to the node to provide more storage. So we're discussing that. It's in the preliminary phase of just the design and architecture, and after that's implementation. Hopefully that will come after the indexing, and that's hopefully in like around May to August, I would say.
Okay. Another question here, just from John. Web2 users are needed. He is filmmaker. Basically, when will non-Web3 options be available for logging in?
Yeah, so that's one of the priority ones right now. We are going to have a Web2 login. That should be in early Q2 to mid Q2. I think even this month it could be possible, but I'm not sure where they're at currently, because we're first working on the compute iteration. The first iteration for decentralized compute is going to be out this month. That's the first priority, and Web2 login is also a priority. I think they said that they would come out by this month, but it could also be early Q2. So what's going to happen with the Web2 login is you'll be able to kind of authenticate yourself through different Web2 login methods like Gmail, Twitter, things like that. It'll be like a multi-key system, basically. So you still obviously need to have the blockchain access, but you have to have a wallet. But then there has to be someone holding that wallet for that person. So custodial wallet per se. And that would probably be IAGON or the Beehive network in the future. But you would, in order to access your platform, you at least need 2 or 3 keys, which means you still need your Gmail or your message, your phone, or your 2-step verification to log in.
Okay, so is it like I've seen NewFi do something similar where you can log in with your socials? Will it be like that where there is actually a blockchain wallet behind it? Even if they
the blockchain wallet. Yeah, the blockchain wallet won't be user facing at all. So it'll be on the background just to make sure that that the transactions are done through the access layer is still on chain, and all these transactions are still similar to the Web3 login and Web3 access, but give you kind of the let's say the comfort of Web2, where it's easy to interact, easy to pay with credit card and different other features, right?
Okay, yeah, I think that's good. And I've seen people ask as well about credit cards and that, and people who don't want to know about blockchain yet, can they get access to it? So I suppose that will be one of the first big steps towards that.
Yes, correct.
You mentioned one that was coming up in the next question was decentralized compute, and when is that going to be, or how is that progressing?
That's actually progressing well. So we're launching the first iteration. First is going to be just CPU, and that's going to be at the end of this month. And then we're going to be going to do some testings and with the node operators and whatnot. And then main net for that decentralized compute is going to be in May to June, to the end of May, beginning of June. That's when mainnet for compute for CPU. And then we're going to have GPU as well.
Okay, great. And just back on what we were touching on gaming and that, there could be some options there for users that mightn't have the power and still want to be able to play these kind of things. There was something else on, and anyone watching or listening, do give the video a like, or on Twitter, wherever you are, and share it out. The more questions we get, the better it is. And I am marking as many of the questions as I can to come back to. And let me see, there was one here on how is the data encrypted? I suppose as a high level, we had, when we first talked, I think Trim came on and he went fairly deep into how it all works. So anyone interested in that, maybe looking back on that video could be a good one. But just for a high level, how does the encryption work, and can users delete their data?
Yes. So the encryption is on the user side. Currently, it's password encrypted. So you have the access layer of the blockchain, which is the first kind of quote unquote encryption, and then you have the actual encryption of the password on the file. So whatever that password might be, and you can delete your data. Yes, yeah, and that's one of the actually needed parts. So if you want to be compliant with data regulations, that's actually necessary to have. So something like IPFS, which is kind of, you can't delete data per se. It's always there. This means that, you cannot be compliant with the GDPR regulations, data regulations, right? Because GDPR regulations require the deletion of data if the user asks for that. But we will have something called perma storage as well, which will something feature like Arweave, which will allow permanent storage of data, and indexing, which will kind of prove that on chain as well.
Okay, and just going back to GDPR, I know there was one from the community. Is IAGON the only cloud storage on blockchain compatible with GDPR?
As far as I know, I can't speak for other projects, But because of how we're architecturally built, we're able to be GDPR compliant on premise because, first of all, the access is with the user. That means all the onus is on them in terms of how they want to store the data, where they want to store the data. And second of all, you can geolocate the data specific to specific data regulations, which includes EU. So if you want to be GDPR compliant, you can store the data specifically in EU. And then you have the deletion aspect. So one of the aspects is if you have personal data and you as a user ask for that to be deleted, that must be deleted by law. Mm-hmm. So that's another feature that's also available on IAGON. And as far as we know, that's not possible on any other decentralized storage network currently.
Yeah, I suppose if data is stored on chain, then technically they can't be GDPR compliant because you can't go back and delete. I know it might be encrypted, but you still can't ever delete that data if it's stored on chain.
Also, on chain is not very scalable either. It's not as efficient as off chain storage. And that's why a lot of the bigger kind of decentralized storage are off chain storage, not on chain.
Yeah, and just for, I suppose, that was another question I seen around was where does the blockchain come into it? So I suppose that is the identifier, and where do you just want to give the high level of where blockchain fits?
So first is the access layer, which is, accessing your actual data. So that's the first use case, right? And the second use case will be indexing when that comes out after compute, which will be kind of proof of records. For example, files that you want to have public, like IPFS for NFTs, things like that, you can index them on chain. That means you have a reference of that specific NFT on chain that's stored, right? So that's proof of records, right?
Okay. And let me see. There was one here about CoinMarketCap. When will IAG be verified on CoinMarketCap?
Yeah, I mean, we sent an application. CoinMarketCap works pretty slow, not as fast as we like, but I think that we're in the final phases there. CoinGecko approved us, so I think CoinMarketCap is not so far away.
Yeah, CoinMarketCap does seem to be a lot slower. Is IAGON compatible with IMX services? That's the identity stuff, isn't it?
Not yet, no. I think that we will look into that. We have we released a kind of a MVP for, let's say, Midnight. We have a similar kind of MVP release for Midnight coming up, which would be basically using identity. But we don't want to do the identity ourselves. So basically you have, let's say you want to do your KYC and you do it on different platforms. You save your ID and you send it through a different third-party platform to get the KYC verified. And then you do the process again through so many platforms, right? It's kind of a very tedious thing. I think that what we're doing here is one-step verification. Basically, we use a third party that is doing the identification, maybe IMAX or whoever that might be, that has kind of approved the KYC already, but through Midnight, without revealing all the information or the data, we'd just kind of prove that that person is verified with one click. And that's how simple we want to make it. So if you want to do KYC, maybe, verify, and then that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose that's the advantage of DID's decentralized identity, or that you do only have to do it once and then you can reuse that, rather than, I know for different companies, I have to upload it to loads of different places, and I'm never that happy when I'm asked to do KYC and given the documents. I would far prefer to have done it with one entity and just reuse that. And you mentioned Midnight there, and we've seen the health records was the MVP that was put out probably a few months ago now at this point. And there was a question in the community about any future plans for Milkomeda EVM. So I suppose I'll expand that and ask for any other chains outside of Cardano, or are you looking outside of Cardano?
Yeah, I mean, we want to be chain agnostic. So in the future, we will be chain agnostic. We want to try to keep the economy on Cardano. So the token side, we want to keep on Cardano. I don't know how feasible that is in terms of technology wise or not. We've discussed it internally, but that's the goal. And chain agnostic without moving the token economy. We actually, Melcomeda, we are looking at more so for gaming rather than the actual token side of it, because the token side of it, we had a bad experience with a bridge a while back. So we don't really want to go through the whole bridge process again, just because I think that, right now we don't feel like any bridge is safe. There's bound to be some kind of exploit at some future time. We don't even know if it's quantum proof, any of the bridges, right? So we're thinking of just leaving the token economy on the Cardano side and being chain agnostic. And since we're an infrastructure product, DEPIN with the storage and compute, that makes it much easier for us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One less thing to worry about. And
yes,
similar with bridges, and I always just have a bit of a worry if I can get a native asset, no matter what chain it's on, then that's always my first choice. Or if I have to use a bridge, I generally look for ones that use cold storage. I know it brings a centralized element, but it lets me sleep a little bit better.
Yeah.
Super Bowl ad in 2025.
Hey, you never know, right? But there's a lot of headway in terms of adoption for Web 2 with IAGON. I think that it's not so far-fetched if those things come through. Yeah.
Okay, that's a better answer than I was expecting. Or more positive.
Yeah.
Is it possible to send files to another user? So let's say I make a video game and want to sell it. Can I upload that game and send it to them and only they can delete it?
Yeah, so that's coming in the future in terms of, I'm not sure if you're talking about a specific marketplace, but in terms of sharing data and actually putting stipulations on the data in terms of cookie settings, it's like file settings per se, on what you want to do with that specific file. That's going to be coming up. Yes.
Okay. And BK asks about internet speeds required. He says, I'm confused. I can only get 35 megabytes per second upload at my house. I presume this is related back to nodes, and you have to have certain download and upload speeds. And this will be for users being able to access their data or shards of their data that's stored on your node.
Yeah, I think there's a limit, like a minimum requirement for the nodes is 20 and 20 upload, 20 download. If he's having 35, it could be, you have to make sure that there's kind of a standalone machine that is connected to Ethernet, that there's not that many kind of multiple machines using the internet. Because what happens sometimes is that, multiple processes are using the same kind of internet connection, same line, and that kind of reduces the speed. But if he's having any trouble setting up the node, we have a Discord that's pretty open and helpful with a support team in there as well. So I think you should reach out to them if you have any issues with that.
Yeah, I know even for me here, I have an office in the garden. I had to get a wired connection to the house. I had Wi-Fi and it was fairly good for everything. But I noticed on streaming then when I was constantly using the connection, it used to just drop or the screen would go blurred. But now that it's wired, then that's really the only way to go for constant connection.
Yeah.
Next one here was a quick question related to building good reputation. So I got a couple of nodes that were in the first batch of 50 nodes in December. That have had near perfect uptime and little reputation increase?
Yeah.
Do you want to just give an overview of the reputation?
Yeah, so there's a few weights in the reputation. So the reputation has performance is the highest weight, right? And then there's also uptime and other metrics like read-write speed and things like that. One score is also demand, meaning that is your actual node being utilized for storage, for actual storage files, right? So are actual people being the shards being let's say transferred to you or sent to your node. So that's a demand weight as well. So different weights, and those weights currently make up a score of 100. So anything above 50 is decent. 70 is good. and anything above 70 is really good. So I think that sometimes the score needs to be taken with a pinch of salt. I guess 50 doesn't look like a great score, but it's a decent score. You could increase your score by using, let's say, better equipment, SSDs instead of HD hard drives. And internet connection has a lot to do with it as well, in terms of how fast your internet connection is, and on other metrics, like and the demand comes with those, right? So if your performance and uptime is good, then you also get allocated shards from the network as well. So that will really help increase your score.
Yeah, and I think once we go deeper into the Web 2 world and allow more Web 2 users to get access, we'll see utilization of the network start to really pick up too.
Correct.
And let me see, I seen one on, this one is kind of related. So are there plans for mobile apps where people can auto sync store data on IAGON Cloud? If so, when? I know I seen Vesper. And was there another wallet that you can now do it through mobile for uploading and downloading files?
Yeah, so far right now Vesper, but Eternal will be there. I think there's another one, a new wallet. I think it's called
Begin
wallet. I think they're also mobile compatible as well. So I think those three will be those two will be implemented. But if you're talking about actual app, like a storage app, like Dropbox or something like that, that's also in the works, but that'll be coming after compute. So we're looking at Q3 around there, or Q4 for mobile app. That's in the first kind of iteration, but that's part of it. So we're going to make it before that, even before that coming, we're going to have syncing for other storage apps that you use in your daily life. So for example, Google, you'll have kind of import export button from Google as well, which you can use on IAGON. So that'll make it easier for you to transfer your data from Google to IAGON.
Yeah, I think they're the types of things that really bring in a lot more users. I know when we talked the last time, it was about getting the network up, getting it tested, more on building the capacity of the network. And the next phase then was bringing in users to utilize it. And I think all of that type of stuff that makes it easier for Web 2, that's when you start to unlock them type of numbers. When can we see a new version indicator on the GUI? I presume this is just on the Windows client, that it notifies them when there's a new version, a new node version.
Yeah. I think that's coming soon. I think that's one of the kind of the hot topics as well for the node operators, where they want kind of some update alerts that there's a new update out. I think that we'll implement that soon. I've talked to the dev team about that.
Right. When Synology, I just tried to run the Linux on my DS412 Plus, but I think it's too old. I know that, was it officially approved by them, or I know the package was delivered?
It should be already available. I think there's a package available now. I think it's not confirmed by Synology, but it's available. So you can actually try it out. It should work. If you run into any issues, there's someone already there. A few people that have already started running on Synology, actually. So if you have any problems, just reach out to us on Discord. But it should work, and it's already released.
Yeah, actually, I seen a really good thread on Twitter. I'll try and find it. I have it there somewhere. I'll try and find it after, someone who done step-by-step of setting it up, and I'll put the links to Discord. So I'll do that after this is finished. If you just want to come back and check the links after, Michael. Let me see, what else have I missed here? I've been told that the location of whether the node is powered by renewable energy can be selected as an option. When could that come?
Yeah, that's a fun option. I really like that one, because I think eco-friendly is really the way to go, and I think that providing an option for especially enterprise customers that want to be kind of let's say have a negative footprint, or have carbon credits, that want to use kind of this kind of service, I think they would be really eager to it. I think that is also in development right now, and that will be an option for the user side after the Web 2 login comes. So when the Web 2 login comes and we add a little bit features there, one of the features afterwards will be this added for the user, so they can actually select nodes that are actually offering renewable energy. But before we implement that, we always have to implement that on the node side, and to how to verify that, to make sure that that they are using renewable energy is something that we're tackling right now.
Yeah, it's hard to do the renewable energy to be sure that they actually are using renewable from your side. But a really nice option to have for people who are conscious about that and only want to use renewable energy. How optimistic are you guys regarding user adoption? Any big institutions and talks, etc.? Happy about rapid scaling of the storage provided?
Yeah, so we are in talks with a few big companies already, and that's exciting. The bare metal resource being one of them. That collaboration is going to be hopefully bringing in user adoption, because it offers the solution specifically directly to them as well and their user base. And there's two other ones, really large Web2. I can't really say the names currently, but I have a call with them actually tomorrow, a technical meetup with them tomorrow. So we're in a phase where we've been through a lot of hurdles already. Like in Web3, it's easier to collab. It's much quicker to come on the market. Whereas Web2, there's so many things that you have to go through before you actually get to the collab part or the partnership part. For example, the bare metal, we've been talking over a year to get to this point, right? And these other ones are kind of in the beginning phases. We talked to them in beginning phases since we talked to them in, for example, in September last year. So it varies, and there's more, let's say, hurdles to jump over, but we are in kind of the later phases of those partnerships as well. So we're very confident about user adoption, and it's just a matter of time when, right?
Sounds good. And Override asks, for folks that want to provide storage, is IAGON compatible with TrueNAS?
Yes.
Not one I've used.
Yes. There's a TrueNAS version out there as well. Yes, it's compatible.
Okay, and I presume once again, if there's any issues, Discord is one of the best places to get support on that.
Yeah.
And Roki says, apologies if covered, but does the node have to run 24/7? Also, any projects with community governments?
So yes, the node should run 24/7, right? Data should be accessible all times, right? That's the point of the reputation. You can have your node running less often, but then your reputation takes a hit. And that means the rewards that you get also take a hit. And also that means that the services or the demand that you get in terms of the shards allocated to you also takes a hit. Community government projects, not yet, but that's kind of in the process. So we are in kind of initial discussions, so not yet.
Great. I think I'm coming close to the end of all the questions that I have from the community and from the chat here. So we might go another 5 to 10 minutes if there are more questions. So throw them in down below. And after that, we will wrap things up. I think we've already covered a lot of different questions today. So can you send files to other users? I think we covered this already about that was with the game. But can I give people a public link, I suppose, for others to download, like Google Docs?
Yeah, file sharing is coming. File sharing is coming soon. In terms of the settings, I think it was the same person that asked about the actual settings, but in terms of who can delete it and when it can be deleted or when it's automatically deleted, that's coming later. But the file sharing is coming before. So something like, I think it's called mega sharing, or what's that other mega upload or something like that. The website's called something similar to that, where you have a link and you can download.
Okay, great. And I think these next three are all kind of linked. So IAGON, more advanced than Filecoin, and Store, can never pronounce it, STORJ.
Yes. Yeah.
And what makes IAGON different?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a combination question, right? So in terms of Filecoin, or IPFS is actually the storage protocol. And then storage, how we differentiate ourselves is we learn the behavior of the nodes. So these metrics that we're taking into account, like performance, uptime, location, different other metrics that for even renewable energy, these metrics that we're taking into account, we're matching it up with the user's needs. And the user's needs could be, for example, data compliance in the EU, data compliance in the US, and that way we can geolocate data. We can give the shards of the data to specific nodes that are highly performant, if that's what they ask for. Whereas, for example, IPFS and storage, they're allocating their shards randomly to random resource providers, which may be inefficient or not efficient enough for the end user. And also at the same time, for example, for Web2 customers that actually need to comply with data regulations, it's not a solution for them. They won't go after these solutions if it's not compliant with data regulations. So that's what makes us different. We're able to target Web2 consumers and customers, same thing, but we're able to target them as a customer or for IAGON, and we're able to kind of abide by data regulation laws across the world.
Great. And Ruben says, will you be making an export button for Dropbox as well? So I don't know if that's going to Dropbox or coming from.
Yeah. I mean, I think Google has an easier kind of export button than Dropbox. If I'm not familiar with Dropbox's export button, but I think the goal is also to have it, is if it's possible and easy. I think first one will be Google in terms of import export, because they have already built in those easy tools.
And Fareed, what's going on, Fareed? Tuning in late, but we'll be catching up shortly. Morning. And anyone looking for Cardano content, make sure and check out Dapp Central and subscribe. We'll keep you updated every day, or maybe twice some days. Fareed gets videos out. Don't know how he gets so much content out, but definitely one to follow. So Lomax hadn't realized about the question earlier. Roki, any collab with Hermes project at IOG? I'm not actually sure what that is offhand.
Yeah, Hermes was a Catalyst proposal. I think last fund is something similar to a storage protocol. I think they're doing Catalyst storage, if I'm not mistaken. There's no collaboration there yet, at least. And I think that competition is good. That's all we can say. But the thing is, like, Hermes, I think, is more focused on Catalyst proposals. I think Catalyst proposal storage, as far as I understand. Maybe I'm mistaken, but one thing that Hermes doesn't have is the incentivization model. Incentivizing nodes to store data, I think, is without incentivizing them is a tough task, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I suppose that's where DEPIN comes into it.
Yes,
rewarding people outside of crypto with crypto for providing resources. And Salamander asks about IAGON messenger apps like Signal with sharing of images and videos. Is that a thing, or could it be?
Yes, I see. Encrypted messaging is something that we're working on now. So we're following a model similar to Keybase. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that messaging system, but it's something similar there, where you're able to kind of upload files and send files through messaging, and at the same time communicate. So end-to-end encryption. And that's what we're basing the app around. So the mobile app that's going to be around is more so messaging, but at the same time, you can manage your files, send files, receive files.
Nice. I think we're coming to the end of the questions in the chat. Fareed is a twin, so that's how he's able to get so much work in for the community. But look, I'm going to leave the closing thoughts to yourself for today on where we are, what's next for IAGON. I think we covered a lot here, but I'll let you sum up your thoughts for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me, Paul, and thanks for everyone's questions. I appreciate it. I like doing this open discussion kind of thing. It's not really formatted. I like it. But in terms of what we'd like to kind of communicate, I guess the most thing, what we're excited for the near future is adoption. And we're really driving at that to get Web2 customers to, let's say, blockchain technology. I think that's the step that we're taking, and that's what we're focusing on. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background, of course. We're building a lot of things, including decentralized compute, encrypted messaging. We have the Fantasy Brawl, which we didn't talk about so much, but Fantasy Brawl coming out in Q2. So there's a lot of things going on in parallel. But the one thing I'm really excited for is really a real world adoption in terms of Web2. I think that's where we, let's say, differentiate ourselves between other crypto projects in the Web3 industry.
Yeah, that's great. I think covered a lot today. Maybe April, we'll have some versions of decentralized compute out then. We might look at if the community is open for another AMA at that point. Maybe we'll do one towards the middle or end of April, and we can let us know below this as well. Do you prefer AMAs like this or pre-recorded videos where we just talk? I like this format because I can ask my questions, and also we get to know what the community actually wants to know now, rather than maybe me thinking I know what you want to know. But let us know in the description. Anyone watching, thanks for watching and tuning in. Navjit, thanks very much for your time. Everyone watching, subscribe if you're new for more Cardano content, IAGON content. Give the video a like and share it out to let people know what's going on with the project. And we'll talk soon.
Take care.
Cheers.